The White House takes on Capitol Hill in a high-stakes battle over the nuclear negotiations that are ongoing with Iran. Lawmakers challenging the president on foreign policy, insisting that Congress needs to have oversight on any deal that gets done with Iran. The administration is seeking a free hand.
The whole purpose of the sanctions was to have a negotiation. Now we're having that negotiation. And I think we've earned the right through what we've achieved in the interim agreement and what we have laid out in this parameter that has been set forth. We've earned the right to be able to try to complete this without interference and certainly without partisan politics.
Wow. Tucker Carlson joins me now, editor of the Daily Caller and a Fox News contributor. John Kerry is in pretty deep on this one, and he's worked really hard on it, and now he's afraid that his former colleagues in the Senate are trying to blast it apart before he can finish. What do you think?
Well, they're infuriated, of course. Yeah. The White House is really mad at the State Department. I mean, they think they ought to have a free hand on this and everything else, including domestic policy. They're a little rusty on the separation of powers concept over there. I think, a little congressional oversight is a good thing because first of all, it forces the administration to sell its program on the Hill. That's not something they like to do. It's not something they've had to do or done very often, and they are doing it on this. They are informing Congress to a greater degree. But more important, it helps the negotiation itself. Iran needs this deal and wants this deal more than we do, of course. Their economy is at stake. And in this case, Congress is really acting like the bad cop. And I think Iran understands that if they make too many outrageous demands, the deal will be scuttled. And so I think it's probably really helpful to have this backstop. I mean, the Republicans are showing real resolve. I wish they'd shown this kind of resolve with, repealing Obamacare or turning back executive amnesty. But they have found their backbone on this question for sure. And it's hard to really see the downside.
Yeah, it is. The White House basically says that you don't understand what's in this deal. It's kind of reminiscent of Obamacare. Wait till you see how much depth there is. There's really a lot more accountability than anyone realizes, and you just have to wait until we finish this. It's just a framework. We're going to get the final deal in several months, and then you'll see how much we're really holding their feet to the fire. But, Congress is saying, why do we have to do that? Why can't we just, really learn what's in it now?
Right. And the difference, the key political difference, I think, between this and Obamacare is this is, to some extent, bipartisan. There are prominent Democrats who are openly suspicious of this arrangement and of the White House and its position in the negotiations, and they're pressing pretty hard, whereas Obamacare was just a flat party line deal. I would say the one potential pitfall for Republicans, and you are seeing this emerge a little bit, you saw Barbara Boxer allude to this, is there really doesn't seem to be any support or much support for military action against Iran. And so if the Democrats can successfully convince the public that a lot of Republicans are pushing for war, and by the way, some of them aren't necessarily against war with Iran, to be honest, that you could bump up against pretty strong public sentiment against that.
Well, I think there's some who believe that you want to leave that option on the table in order to have a firmer grip on these negotiations. But then you've got the Ayatollah Khamenei who's saying, they're lying about what's in this framework. They're not telling you the truth. They're devilish in the way that they do negotiations. I mean, if you're John Kerry, you got to be saying, pay no attention, I guess, to the man behind the curtain.
Devilish. Yeah, there is a kind of medieval quality to their negotiations in Iran. It does seem pretty clear that, as in the United States, there is not a consensus on what this deal should contain within Iran. I mean, there are different factions in that country, but it's not at all helpful to have someone like the Ayatollah pop up, from the backdrop and start denouncing Israel or denying the Holocaust or attacking the United States as the great Satan. It's not at all helpful to the administration. They'd like him to go away. But I actually don't think it's clear exactly who's calling the shots in Iran at this point.
Well, he's certainly someone to be listened to because it seems like he has to sign off on anything that they do.
It does seem that way.
Ultimately. Tucker, thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
Martha.
You bet.